Welcome back to Northern Exotics. In this video right now we're going to teach you guys how you can make this. This is our bioactive baby mourning gecko enclosure. You need to have separate enclosures for your babies ideally. If you've got your mourning geckos in an exo terra, the babies are that small they can easily escape. So we have this baby proof mourning gecko enclosure. Firstly, big shout out to Carl, one of our Patreon supporters. He's the one that's asked us, can I make a video showing how to make these baby mourning gecko enclosures? So here you are, Carl. Thanks ever so much for being a Patreon supporter. We really appreciate you. For anybody else who wants to look into that, the link is in the description, but this is what we're going to end up with today. We're always doing videos similar to this on our YouTube channel, so if you're new around here, please make sure you have subscribed. We're getting close to 10,000 subscribers, and I would love to be able to hit that goal as quick as possible. Things you're going to need to be able to make this little enclosure. You need a jar of some description. This size of a jar is absolutely perfect size, and it'll hold 4, 5, 6 babies, because the babies are only tiny. Once they grow a little bit more, you might need to separate them out a little bit, but this is absolutely perfect for a fair few babies. It's even good for 1 or 2 adults at a push. But yeah, that is it's just a sweet jar. That's all that is, just a bog standard sweet jar with a lid. I have a plastic lid. I picked this up for 20p from my local sweet shop. I went in and said, you got any old jars? And she goes, yeah, what do you want them for? Said, oh, for the reptiles and stuff. Oh, okay, then here you go. And I went, no, I've got to give you some money. So I gave it 20p and I got loads of them. Because, as you know, if you keep mourning geckos, or if you're new to keeping mourning geckos, you get a lot of eggs from mourning geckos. So you need some eggs for the babies. That's what I do. Next up, you're going to need something to go inside it. So I'm going to use a feeding ledge. Now this is one that I made myself. If you want to know how you can make these little feeding ledges, they're only dead cheap. Well, it cost me absolutely nothing. It was fun to make. If you want to learn how to make this, click on that video just there. Then we're going to go further down to the bottom of this. We'll start down the bottom and work our way up, shall we? You're going to need a drainage layer. For me, I've got hydro balls lying around, so I'm just going to chuck some hydro balls down there. I like to have a drainage layer simply because you can get, your plant needs a lot of water, your animals need a lot of water, it can get a bit soppy down here, so a drainage layer just helps. It's not extremely vital, I just found it beneficial for me. So a drainage layer, I'm going to use some of this mesh to split it between the drainage layer and the substrate. This is just your bog standard tent mesh. You know the fly screen inside your tent when you go camping? That's all that is, but you're going to need this. I've just poked myself in the eye with it. We're also going to need this for ventilation for in the roof. I'll cover that in a bit. On top of the drainage layer, you're going to need substrate. For me, I'm using my own personal mix. It was a cheap and cheerful mix that I've made myself, and I took the example from the forest. So it's a mix of topsoil, cocoa fibre, it's got rotten oak inside it, it's got leaves inside it, it's got hardwoods, rotten woods, it's got everything all inside it to make it extremely fertile, to help the plant growth and to help the cleanup crew really thrive inside that enclosure. Then we've got plants. I love to have live plants, not only for the naturalistic feel of it all, but tropical species always seem to do well in bioactive live plant enclosures, so that's one of the reasons. Another reason is it's quite a small little compact unit with only one big vent at the top, so I want to have as much clean air in there as possible. The plants help take in all the carbon dioxide, breathe out a load of oxygen, which is again going to help your animals. I don't know what plants I'm going to use. I've got an absolute array of plants over there I can pick from. I've been growing them for quite a while. I'll pick one of them eventually. Next, I want a stick. This is the stick I'm going to use. It's just a cheap and cheerful one I found in the forest absolutely ages ago. I let it dry out and then I cooked it, and that's it. That's just a stick, and it fits perfect inside the actual enclosure. So that's that. But the first thing you're going to need to do right now is basically get the lid off and make a big hole in the lid. Not just a little pinhole in the middle, but you want to cut the entire top out just like this. For me, I've got a big hole drill and it's straight through, absolutely perfect. Then you want to get that fly screen mesh that I was on about earlier, any sort of really fine mesh. You can use tights, you can use anything small enough for the babies to not escape, and I hot glue gunned it in the actual middle just like that. When that's done, your enclosure itself is basically finished. It's just a case of whack it on and both, you've got a perfect enclosure just like that. Now we'll start working on the inside. First of all, we start off with the drainage layer. We have got hydro balls. We didn't put too much in, but enough. Then the mesh screen, which goes on the top, just stops a lot of the dirt not mixing with the actual substrate. As I said, that's just mesh. Get it down into all the corners really nicely. Next step, the substrate. This is what mine looks like. Loads of bits of leaves in it, loads of topsoil, loads of cocoa fibre, loads of bits of sticks. There's loads of natural organisms in there that's going to help the plant growth and the actual species themselves. I've got a big tub like this. I'm simply just going to rehydrate this with some water because it is a bit dry. But when you do go to rehydrate, just keep in mind it does take an awful lot of water to actually rehydrate it nicely. That'll do for me. Mixing time. You might need to add more in if need be. Let me know in the comment section down below, do you guys keep mourning geckos? Have you got some weird names for your mourning geckos? I'd love to hear what you've come up with. Done. Let's get it in. We've got the enclosure, and we simply just put it in, get it down into all the corners. You want that bottom first layer to be fairly compact because that's where your roots are going to sit. And just keep putting some in and putting some in. You're going to get messy, it's going to get funky, but I've put around about 3 inches in the bottom just because I like to have that extra bit of substrate for that extra bit of plant growth. Your plants can last in there a bit longer if it's got the space to grow. That's that. Let's start getting some plants in. I've gone for 3 different plants here. I've gone for a general little pothos plant. It's got a couple of roots sticking out of it. That should root quite well. I've gone for a different species of pothos plant, and that's because this one's quite long, so we should be able to go from bottom to the top. And then I've gone for this. I don't know what it's called, but it looks quite cool. And I've basically just grew it from seedling, basically. That's what I've got. I don't even know what it's called. I'm just going to put it in there and see what happens. Let's go. So what I'm doing is basically just planting the plant, sticking the stick in. I'm making a little hole down in the substrate, putting the roots in the hole, then really compacting it down. After they've all planted and done and dusted, I'll go through and add a bit of water in there as well. I did at one point realise I needed to add a little bit more substrate because I have got quite a bit of plant growth to go in there. So I wanted that little bit of extra depth. So what I did, I just went back into my substrate bucket, got a bit more substrate, put it down into the other corner. I've added the 2 pothos plants to this point right now. And then that extra plant that I didn't quite know exactly what it was, I went down to Reptile Systems and they gave me a load of cuttings. I decided to come back, plant them all, and they've just took off. They have absolutely took off. But I'm going to plant this one right down that bottom corner as well. I really do appreciate live plants within the enclosures. It just benefits the animals so much and it makes it look that extra bit better for your living room, basically. Let me know in the comment section down below, do you use live plants? What species do you use live plants for? I'd really love to know. It really is fascinating to me. But let's carry on with the video.
After that, you're basically left with this. This is a general live planted baby mourning gecko enclosure.
So the next thing you got to do is put a feeding ledge in there. So they are an arboreal gecko style lizard. So they're up the sides all the time. So you need to have that feeding ledge halfway up. This is the one that I've made just like that. It's nice and simple. It fits a tattoo ink cup absolutely perfect, so I can just easily change the food. It's just absolutely perfect, as I keep saying. It's just a piece of polystyrene that I've broken up into all little bits, and then I've got a lighter and I've melted all the sides around just to stop all the polystyrene sort of balls flicking off. Melted a big hole in the top, just big enough to fit in a tattoo ink cup, and I'm basically going to adhere that to the side of the enclosure so that the geckos have got something they can go and get some food out of. The trick with adhering this to the side of the enclosure, because it's polystyrene, I've got my heat gun just here. Now when you've turned it on, the heat gun gets to a certain temperature, melts the glue and then fires the glue out. If you squeeze the trigger before it gets to the correct temperature, it comes out very slowly, very thickly onto here, but not as hot. So you can stick it onto here, whack it onto the side of the enclosure, and it takes a few seconds to cure, but that is good enough to hold that in there perfectly fine. Figure out where you want it to go. For me, I want it to go on this back corner, just here, about there. Give it a good push down, make sure it's all squeezed in. Now, it doesn't look absolutely idealistically pretty from the outside, but it'll do. You end up with
your feeding ledge in there, absolutely perfect. That is a beautiful little enclosure, and it's going to suit 4 or 5 baby mourning geckos until they're a few months old and ready to either rehome, resell, or keep as pets. Get the lid on, then you're done. So now you're going to be ready and prepared, ready for those baby mourning gecko eggs to start hatching just like mine. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure you do hit the thumbs up button. Leave a comment down below. It really does help YouTube realise that this video's got a lot of engagement and it really pushes it out to a wider audience. We're really close to 10,000 subscribers and we really want to bump over that. So if you've not already subscribed, make sure you do hit that subscribe button because we're always bringing out videos just like this. Once again guys, I love you all. Thank you very much.